Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
It's me, messy hair and I don't care. Good evening, darlings. And after 3 so long days without you, it is nothing less than a cataclysmically orgasmic joy to have you all to myself again. So, a very warm welcome to Monday Night Live at this earlier time, just on this occasion only, because I've had a day off. Didn't go to the Yard of Dreams today, my loves. Got up super early. I was all ready. Yesterday was fabulous. I was planning to go in WetLegs, the MGF, top down, foot down, all sorts of good fun. Woke up, it was freezing cold, pissing down with rain, howling with wind, and the weather forecast informed me that it was going to be the same throughout the day. So I got in touch with my chum, Captain Mustard, and inquired as to the weather in his environ, aka the Yard of Dreams. And he assured me that it was equally wet and miserable there. So on the spot, my lovelies, I decided I couldn't be asked. And I wasn't asked, and I didn't go. So there you are. But here we are, 10 o'clock on a Monday night, and we're all together. How fabulous is that? A very warm welcome to Monday Night Live. A very warm welcome to Windy Bottom, my humble little cottage here in the arse end of nowhere up on the moors of the Peak District, and your very good health, darlings. Happy bank holiday. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, a few things. Obviously, I want to know what you've been up to since we last spoke, which was in the long ago, way back on Thursday night of last week. My goodness. So, what have you been up to? Anything to tell me? Any gossip, any news, any updates? Any exciting things happened? Oh, first one of the live stream. Got that one in early. Get it out of the way. Obviously, I need to know what you've been eating, especially tonight. I need to know what you've had for dinner tonight. And all of your chums need to know that as well. Who did you vote for in the great bangers and mash off? And if you haven't voted yet, why not? And who do you plan to vote for? Whose videos have you watched and enjoyed over the weekend? And what would you recommend that other people watch? And anything else you want to tell me, really? Has anything nearly fallen on your head? Did you fall fleetingly in love with a stranger who you saw at the traffic lights and who then zoomed away, leaving you only with thoughts of what might have been? Or anything else that you want to throw at me? I would also like to discuss, after some comments and discussions, both in the comments on my YouTube videos and in our Facebook community group, Boaty's World. Check it out on Facebook. It's relatively acceptable, perhaps slightly above average, you know, on a good day with the wind behind it. So I would like to ask the question, am I or Captain Mustard or both of us homophobic? And I would also like to discuss YouTube channels, if you have one or if you watch them. And I'm assuming that at the very least you watch them because you're watching this, which is on a YouTube channel. What are we going to talk about on YouTube channels? Well, ideas for what... This basically comes about after Captain Mustard's live stream, where somebody berated him, and I think we can all guess who, for not putting out a variety of content. And he suggested one specific thing that Mustard has got no interest in. And the riposte to that was, if you had a shop, would you only sell the things that you like? And there's a discussion there to be had, because he's got a point, but also he hasn't got a point. So I thought we could discuss and debate the point or non-point thereof, or talk about your favourite YouTube channels. Where would you like them to go in the future? How would you like them to change? Would you like them to go back to the way they used to be? Would you, I don't know. And for people with relatively new YouTube channels who are trying to build, what would you suggest they could do to set themselves apart? So there you go. There's a few bits there to get our teeth into, and with no further ado, I am now going to dive head first into the comments, and I'm going to surmise who is here amongst us, in our midst, in this community carnival of a festival of a do or something. Let's have a look. Steekold, good evening to you. Jimmy Quinn, how lovely. Matt, the wonderful _. Oh, Trace, absolutely splendid. Psychonaut7, that's a name that's new to me. And Project Nigel, my BFF, Captain Mustard, which is a name that isn't unfamiliar to me. It's a name that's very familiar to me indeed. And wonderfully familiar, comfortably familiar. Saying the name Project Nigel or Captain Mustard is like slipping on an old pair of slippers that have been moulded to the shape of my feet and provide a level of certainty and protection against a world that can be unkind. The kind of world, my darlings, that only a decent pair of slippers can deal with. And who's ponging me? Right, well, seeing as you saw fit to interrupt my live stream, we'll read it out for the whole of the class, shall we? Goodness gracious me. What an intrusion at this early point in the doings. Let's have a look. Now then, what was this that couldn't wait? I'll bring my bike over to the yard for you to do a not review of. It'll be funny to walk around, talk about, and show you have literally no interest. Splendid, jolly good. What a jolly good idea, and I'm delighted I read that. Where was I? Slipper news, yeah. My trusty slippers that have been friends and companions over a number of years, and which were lovingly purchased for me by the artist previously known as Mrs. Boaty. They've finally given up the ghost. The bottoms, the soles of the slippers, stopped being bottoms, became entirely whole, and they just became a wraparound for the upper part of my foot. And very, very sadly, I had to consign them to the bin, specifically the black bin, which I can tell you has got a date stamp on it, which in my limited experience is quite an unusual thing for a wheelie bin. And the date stamp is 1989. My bin is older than any of my cars and some of my ex-stepchildren. So I think we should all take a... Oh, hello. Something nice has happened. I've been given, and you can possibly see too, a green flash, which means that something nice has happened. And now I'm going to press with this finger, this one here, I'm now going to press upon the green doings and find out what nature of nice thing has occurred. Oh, a new channel member, my darlings. How wonderful. And it is none other than Black Lions, who I believe I recently discovered and promised myself that I would definitely remember and absolutely not forget, has actually got a name. And I believe that name is Steve. So, let's all welcome with grateful thanks the most recent channel member to Boaty's World. Thank you so much for your support. Following on the heels of Jimmy Quinn, who I will thank again, and I will apologise after his comment on my video that he has not yet heard, to use his words, the French bird read his name out. I do apologise, Jimmy Quinn. The truth of the matter is that I've been unable to get the lovely Ines to record a new thing for me because she has been working double shifts at the massage parlour. Obviously, by the time she gets home, all she wants to do is have several showers, a douche, and get to sleep. But as soon as she's got a day off, I can assure you that all of the new channel members will be included in the thank you message read by the lovely Ines. So thank you again, Black Lions, thank you, Jimmy Quinn, and thank you to all of you other channel members for your support, and thank you all for any bit of support you give me, whether that is just tuning in, putting up with my absolute nonsense, or when the adverts come on, leaving that bloody knob alone and letting the adverts run so that I get, oh gosh, about half a pence. But all those half a p's will add up. Here's a thought. Right, who remembers the half p? And what could you buy for half a p? I can remember only two things. I won't tell you what they are because some of you will come out with them. But I can only remember two things that you could buy for half a p. But I do remember things being something and a half p. But there were only two things I could remember that you could actually buy with a half p. For those of you who are young, Rover Joe, I'm looking at you, dear boy. You mere fetus. Fetus firstus. A half p was a coin about the size of, oh gosh, about the size of, well, imagine if you cut a petit pois, a bird's eye petit pois in half. Now it would be frozen, so I'll start again. Imagine if you defrosted a bird's eye petit pois and cut it in half and then held it with the tapered circular bottom shaped bit facing away from you. So you were looking at the half of the pea that was a flat surface like a clock face. That would be about the size of an old half-pence coin. So thank you for that, and I'm very glad you asked, and I hope that answers your inquiry thoroughly. I'm very well, Jimmy. Thank you for asking. I hope you're well too. Right, Simon is amongst us. That's lovely. Mustard is sending greetings to everyone. Psychonaut7 says, hello, sir. Hello to you, my dear chap. Hey, Paul says, Mickey Jeffries is here. Lovely. Trisha Alderman is amongst us. All of my favourite people. Bad Books. JC02WAX. All of these fabulous people are here. This is going to be great, isn't it? I'm really going to enjoy this. I've been looking forward to it all day. I have been quite literally clutching my little tinkle with excitement and anticipation all day. Not quite all day, because I have been to some shops, and quite honestly, I didn't clutch my tinkle in the shops because, well, you can get locked up for doing things like that, I imagine. Anyway, where was I? Simone is here. Hooked on Classics, one of our community channels, as is the Greenwood and Black Lines and Project Nigel and Project MGTF. all community channels, and it is yours and my duty to support them in any way that we can, in the same way that they will and do support us. Now then, where did I get to? Splendid. Mustard says, yeah, and it barely rained all day here after all. That's a bugger. It pissed it down here all day, mate. It's been absolutely miserable. It was the kind of weather that you just don't want to go out in. So even the journey would have been unpleasant. Now, I wasn't going to film the journey today because I've filmed it 674,000 times already. But that wouldn't necessarily stop me doing it again. Although my most recent video was a version, no, not my most recent, the second most recent, was a version of the journey. And I knew I was pushing my luck putting yet another one of those out. It was a bit of a filler, if I'm honest. I tried to make it a bit more interesting by putting some other stuff over it, and a bit at the beginning and a bit at the end, but at the end of the day it was just me driving to the yard again for the umpteenth time. You've all seen that. You probably didn't want to see it again. You probably didn't watch it, and I for one don't blame you. So I wasn't about to film it again today. No. The weather being good, what I was going to do was to go the other way, to go right round the back way, over Ola Bar. Something nice has happened, but this time it's an orange something nice. And I'm going to immediately look at that because, oh, bless you. Right, it's what's called a super sticker from, oh my gosh, that is generous. From Psychonaut7, who has very kindly bunged me quite a few quid actually, and says I'm amazing, which is how absolutely lovely. Oh, thank you so much. I feel I should do something particularly nice for you, and as everybody knows, when I say something particularly nice, that normally means Momo. So I'm going to put you on my special Momo list, Psychonaut7. There are Momos here, just down there in the Momo drawer, that have got your name on them, and with chutney. Thank you so much. Really, really grateful. Oh, Mark on Motoring is here. That's grand. Good evening, says Mark on Motoring, another one of our community channels that you need to check out and subscribe to, if you haven't already. And he has been busy filming yesterday and been busy editing ever since. Well, yeah, those of us who have a channel will fully understand the rigors of the edit suite. Although it must be said that if you watch one of Mark on Motoring's videos, if you are coming from my videos, you will be amazed at the level of professionalism that you will encounter there, that you have never seen on a video of mine, and almost certainly never will. So I can imagine that his editing takes somewhat longer than mine. Oh, but he did have a short break for a slice of Victoria sponge cake with a cup of tea. Well, that sounds jolly civilised. Good for you, and I'm sure it was well earned. Mustard says, you didn't put my bangers and mash in the poll. What? Well, there's a bloody good reason for that, isn't there, mate? It wasn't your bangers and mash. You freely acknowledged that it was a picture that you stole off the interweb. And as such, it is not eligible to go into the poll and win a £7,000 cash prize. You can't win £7,000 for nicking a photo off the net, you great numpty. Bloody, you should have cooked one. And I saw your live stream. I saw what you said. You probably think I didn't, but I did. And Mustard said, I'll try and quote him reasonably exactly. He said, I'm not going to enter Boaty's bangers and mash off because I'm not competitive. And then he thought about it for a nanosecond and said, well, I am competitive, and that means that I'd be upset if I didn't win. So I'm not going to enter because then I can't be disappointed that I don't win, which is so bloody, I mean, talk about toys out of the pram. I'm not going to play this game in case I don't win. Bloody hell. So that would mean that, I don't know, you'd never go out night clubbing in case you didn't pull. You'd never play football in case you didn't score a goal. You'd never sit on the lavatory in case you didn't have a poo. Take a chance. Take a chance, man. Get out there. You should have got involved. It's a bit of fun. You could have showed off your culinary prowess like Rob did of Project Bed and Breakfast fame. He did a splendid effort, and he made a 40-minute video showing you him making his bangers and mash from scratch with a dark beer onion gravy and some really good sausage tips, including a dual cooking method. But yeah, no, so you didn't go in the poll, and it serves you right. You should have made the bloody effort. And on the subject of the great bangers and mash off, Trey says, I voted for Rob because that was a sexy plate of food. Did you really, Trace? Did you really? You voted for Rob, my main competitor. I see. Excuse me, just for one moment, please. I just need to add Tracy's name to my big list of enemies. Tracy Green Wood. Done. Well, that's wonderful, Trace. Glad you found it a sexy plate of food, and good on you for voting that way. I was going to head over to the yard, say Simon, but I had to work. Oh, God. Well, that was number 2, wasn't it? And that popped out without much, if any, warning. That just dropped out like a kebab dropped by a drunk staggering home from the pub who popped into the kebab shop. Kebab shops didn't used to be a thing, did they? You got your kebabs from the chip shop. Who remembers chip shops in the days before kebabs and all of that sort of thing? Who remembers just proper old chip shops where you got chips and fish, maybe a pie or a sausage, and it was wrapped in greaseproof paper, which was then wrapped in newspaper, and on the counter there was a big jar of pickled eggs and another big jar of pickled onions and a Tupperware type Pyrex slidey uppy door thing with bread and margarine in there for 5 pence a slice. And at the back on the shelf there would be cockles and mussels and tomato sauce and malt vinegar. God, I mean, I knew the rot was selling in when George's in Matchborough Centre started selling spring rolls and spicy potatoes. I knew we were on a downward spiral there, but who could have guessed that it would end up in a weird thing where your food comes in polystyrene things, and the food has to be shaped to fit in the polystyrene thing. And in a lot of places, you can't even get proper chips. You get French fries, which are nothing to do with France at all. They're American things. Oh, dear me. Anyway, slightly getting off the point there. So Simon was going to go to the yard and he didn't. And he's let us know that. And we appreciate it. We take that information on board. We assimilate it. That was a word that didn't want to come out. That got paused about halfway, as if it was unsure of whether it was the correct word to be used at that point. And it kind of teetered. You know, when you used to go up, if you're on holiday, or if you went to a posh swimming pool and they had the really high diving platform, not a board, you had your diving board there, maybe a diving board there, and then you had your diving platform right up at the top, about 463 feet in the air. And with your wet feet and your woolen trunks, you had to climb up 14 million ladders with your feet slipping off those slippery metal stairs, thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then you get up to the top and you're just on this open concrete platform with the rails on either side of you. And you don't want to walk forward. And you force yourself to walk forward, but your head walks quicker than your ass. So your ass is saying, I'm having nothing to do with this shit. I'm staying here by the stairs, which I'll be going back down. And your head is going forward until you find yourself entirely in that position. And you sort of teeter and you look just over the edge and you look down, a long way down. And somewhere 3.5 miles down there, there's a swimming pool that is the size of a postage stamp. And you think, this is clearly ridiculous. This is clearly non-viable. Nobody has ever launched themselves off this platform. Anybody who was foolish enough to do so would be immediately killed. And I'm having nothing to do with this. I'm going to go back down the stairs, down the steps. I'm going to go into the changing room, through the little the little footbath of death that you had to walk through, that was full of Dettol and weed killer and bleach and Christ knows what else, to kill off whatever bloody council inflicted dreadfulness you had lingering on your feet because you haven't had a bath for the last 3 months. I'm going to get my clothes back on, I'm going to go out to the vending machine and I'm going to get a Twix and a packet of crisps for 20p, 10p each. And so that's what you think you'll do. So you back up to the steps and then you see that people are watching and you think, well, they're going to think that I'm a coward. I'd better go through with this. So you go forward again and you think, no, I will die. And so you go back again. And as you go back, a bloody 5-year-old child runs past you with nary a backward glance and launches themselves off the platform with a whee and splashes into the postage stamp below. And then you're left with a real dilemma. Do you follow the child, in which case you'll have no glory whatsoever, or do you just shamefully backtrack down the steps? And I can't honestly, I jumped. I jumped. I tried to style it out. I sort of casually strolled to the end and then went to casually just step off and slipped a bit and sort of went down in a flailing cartwheel of arms and legs squealing like a girl. Anyway, that was how the word assimilate coming out of my throat felt at that moment in time. And I think we should all be grateful for that level of sharing. Back to you lot. Jimmy Quinn, who eats like a king. Oh, it was a coronation, wasn't it? There's a conversation to have. Are you a royalist? Are you a monarchist? Or are you a Republican? What do you think about the royal family? Were you proud on Saturday? Were you glued to the doings, or did you watch the television? Yeah, we can talk about that. Anyway, Jimmy had roast lamb with gravy, Yorkshire puddings and veg. Oh God, he does eat well, that boy. Simone says, Boaty did make a... What? Boaty, did you make a poll for the bangers and mash off? It might help. Well, Obviously I did, Simone. Obviously I did. I made a poll at the time that I set a poll. I said I would make a poll. Immediately after entries closed, which was at midnight on Sunday night. And at 3 minutes past midnight, the poll duly appeared. Many people have seen it, Simone. Many people have voted on it. Some people have commented on it. And I'm delighted to inform you, Simone, that your dishes have received numerous votes. So that's good, isn't it? He didn't put mine in mustard, says Jimmy Quinn. No, your sausage and mash didn't go in, Jimmy Quinn, because it wasn't your sausage and mash. It was a picture of sausage and mash that you stole from a website called, what was it? Daringgourmet.co.uk. So no, it didn't go in, because that's cheating. You've got to cook it yourself, man, not just steal a picture. Trace says, no, not homophobic. I put my comment on the thread just now after watching the vid. I will repeat it here. And she then goes on to do so. Oh, did I? I forgot I said that. Oh, dear. Oh, right. Really? Oh, well, now we're talking about anal sex. I don't think puff is homophobic, is it? Isn't it used as an affectionate term? I mean, there was that thing. Who was it on Jonathan Ross? 4 puffs and a piano. I mean, I know it's one of those things that maybe a bit like the N-word. It's a word that you can say if you are one, but people can't say if you're not one. I'm not sure how I feel about that. If it's okay for somebody, it should be okay for anybody. I mean, obviously nothing should be said in an offensive or disrespectful or contemptuous way. But, that certainly wasn't the way that I said the P word. Puff. I think it's a nice word. Now, if I was a puff, I would be perfectly happy to be referred to as a puff. And I might even insist on it. Oh well, there we are. Yeah, Trace is going into real detail about the percentage of straight versus gay couples who engage in, what did she call it? Backdoor action. Anyway, let's move on from that. Pure Evil says, evening everyone, evening to you. I can't get over the homophobic claim, says JCO2 Wax. Far from homophobic on this channel and Mr. Mustard. Rocket Max. Oh, fabulous. We've not had the pleasure of your company for a while, sir. How are you diddling? Tell us about some exciting shows you've been doing lately. For those who don't know, Rocket Max is the world's leading Elton John tribute act. And a thoroughly nice chap as well. So good evening. And Rover Joe, fabulous. Good evening to you. Barbecue burgers and sausage for dinner, says Bad Books. Walk the dogs to where the river joins the sea. Oh, and watch 2 seals having a lovely time. Did gardening and saw baby robins, wrens and blackbirds. Now that's what you call a day. Blackline says, good evening, all. And now we're moving on to channel chat. Trace says, I totally understand a channel owner putting out content that's varied, but still all stuff they like. But why film stuff you have no interest in? It would totally show that they have no passion for it. Okay. Well, let's think about that. Depends on what the channel is, doesn't it? Now, if you've got a car channel, and you do car reviews, then I would argue that you should review cars that you don't like as well as cars that you do like. If your channel is a specific channel for an interest of yours, like, I don't know, Boaty's jigsaws, then I can completely understand that you would just do jigsaws. But even then you would do jigsaws that you didn't like and that didn't appeal to you, wouldn't you? Because the subject is jigsaws. Unless it's Boaty's jigsaws, what I likes. I don't know. Oh, a message held for oh God, a message held review, and it's WetLegs rear end. This is, I've got an MGF whose name is Fräulein Wetleg von Tittybiscuits, and not only does she have a voice synthesizer, which gives me grief when I drive her, as has been experienced on my videos. The bloody back end of it has now got a sodding YouTube account, and she gives me grief on here as well. And WetLegs rear end says, "Oh, I was looking forward to a good spanking today, lardass. Sorry about that, Wetty. We'll have to postpone that spanking. But how do you feel about your nice new leather gear knob?" Oh, yes, I've got news. I've done a thing. I've done a proper thing, and it was all successful and everything, mostly. I'll tell you about that in a bit. Let's get through some comments. I don't want to get all behind like a cow's tail again. Oh, it was a manual renewal. That's the channel membership thing, but oh, hey, it all counts. A halfpenny was tiny, say Simon. Half-p penny chews. Yeah, those are the things I was thinking of, specifically blackjacks and fruit salads. John Moretzi says, "I think I prefer the bossy Austin Rover lady to the French bird." Okay, that's an interesting one. Okay, which of the characters on the videos do you prefer then? Do you prefer the do you prefer Wetleg, the Austin Rover voice lady, who gives me endless abuse? Or do you prefer the nice French lady who tells you when she's not wearing any panties? Which is like always. Maybe it's to do with her profession, but I've never seen her with a pair on, to be completely honest. Fruit salads and blackjacks for half a penny. Quite right, Dave Smith. I remember half a penny, says Bad Books, but can't remember what you could buy. Oh, you could buy a halfpenny stamp, says Chaz Brown. About the size of a 5p now, says Mustard. I think it was, I think it was even smaller than a 5p. It was, and it was definitely thinner. John Moretti says, "I think curly whirlies with 3p. Oh, God. Do they still do curly whirlies? That's a fabulous name, isn't it? Curly whirly. Oh, there's a childhood memory. I have a bundle of a halfpenny, says Simone. Hope you had a great day off, Boaty, says JCO2 Waxer. Thank you. I wouldn't describe it as great, to be perfectly honest. I would describe it as unwanted. However, the last time I had an unwanted day off, I squandered the day in a pit of bloody boredom and feeling sorry for myself, and got absolutely sod all done. I wasn't going to do that again today. So it has been productive, and I will tell you the things that I've done. Possibly not in alphabetical order, but maybe in chronological order. Oh, and of course, I will be announcing mine and Captain Mustard's new business very, very shortly. So stay tuned. What have I done today? I have thoroughly cleaned and changed the water in both fish tanks. And that was a job that was well overdue, and I'm very pleased for having done that. I've been to one of those dreadful cheap shops, home discount bargains, whatever it is, that I went to for the first time 8 months ago and made a video about it. And I went again today and I bought some really cool bits and pieces for next to nothing, which is handy because next to nothing was all the money I had. And I only had that because I didn't have to spend it on fuel getting to the yard. Oh, and then lunch because it was my turn. Annoyingly, it'll still be my turn next week. What did I buy? Well, I'm glad you asked. I bought this, and this is brilliant, right? This, as you know, is my pantry. Behold, the pantry of things, right? I don't use it as a pantry. Well, a bit as a pantry, but mainly for tools and stuff. And it is as dark as a bloody coal house in there. And it's got electricity, it's got a socket, but it hasn't got any lighty. Look up there, any lighty. There's a light up there. Just imagine a light. I'm pointing at it, all right? Anyway, it hasn't got a light in there. So I bought one of those clippity light bulb holder things that plug in. And look, isn't that fabulous? It's light. You can see in there. I can see my tools and my downstairs Hoover and my socket set and my folding chair and my folding table and my extended wing mirrors. So that's brilliant. Let's turn you off actually. You don't need to be on, do you? I mean, you're just wasting electricity there. Sort yourself out. I bought, pardon me reaching across here, some lovely bath stuff, which to be honest, I only bought. Does anybody else do this, right? I've talked about this before when it comes to toilet rolls, right? I don't buy things because I like the things. I buy things that match the decor of the room that they're going into. So this is some bath shit. Now, it might be very nice bath shit for all I know. It's imperial leather, it's muscle recovery bath soak, and it contains bergamot, whatever the hell that is, and sea salt. It doesn't say what the alcohol by volume is, but that probably doesn't matter because I've got wine. And it might be wonderful. But the point is, I bought it because it is the exact shade of my bathroom suite, and therefore it fits in. That's the same reason that I buy my toilet roll. I buy the toilet roll, which is mainly the colour of my bathroom suite, not the toilet roll itself, the wrapping that it comes in, rather than the toilet roll that I would prefer, which is the Kleenex extra double velvet quilted, what bum you like stuff. Oh God, it's wonderful. It's ever so nice. It really is. But it's got like purple wrapping, and that doesn't look right in the bathroom. I mean, it's all right if you put it away in a cupboard, but you couldn't have it out. And so I have to get the lesser stuff. And it is £1 cheaper, admittedly. But you use more of it because it's not as thick and velvety as the wonderful Andrex stuff. And it's not as nice to use. You don't get that feeling of luxury and security. I mean, it's all right, but it's like driving, and it's the top of the range, own brand, allegedly. And it's all right, it is okay. I mean, it does the job. But it's like going from driving a RollsRoyce Silver Spirit, right, a post-89 one, ABS, EFI, high-level brake light, but still with the gear change on the steering column, obviously. You know, you wouldn't want one of those silly modern ones where they moved it down to where it didn't ought to be. I mean, it should be on the steering column. They kept that bit on the steering column and they put the cruise control there instead, but it's not the same. In fact, I would go as far to say that the linkage, and it's a hydraulic linkage, and I apologise if this is going to get a bit technical and engineering, but the hydraulic linkage for the column gear selector on the RollsRoyce Silver Shadow is, in my opinion, one of the finest bits of engineering that man has ever done. And, you know, that is just my opinion, and you can take it or you can leave it. You know, I don't care. Well, I'd rather you take, well, do I? Well, I do care a bit. I mean, I wouldn't want you to tell me that I was an idiot, but I don't mind if you disagree with me, and I don't mind if you just ignore it. But if you can think of a better piece of engineering than that, I would love to hear it. Possibly Simone's second cup holder in her Rover 75 that she applied some lube to, so that it now works like a well-greased weasel slipping in and out of a squirrel hut. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, buying stuff because it matches your bathroom. Like my towels. I remember, and this is true, I went into Tesco. I'm going back years. It would have been, excuse me, something stuck in between my two remaining teeth. It would have been not long after I moved into this here cottage. And when I moved into this here cottage, I had white towelings. And my bathroom suite is a very 1960s kind of duck egg blue. Well, it's the colour of that stuff. And I was in Tesco one night, late on, when everybody in there is going in their nightwear, that sort of time, where it's nice and empty, and the people that are there are a bit dodgy, a bit drunk, and they're wearing their nighties and dressing gowns. That's Tesco for you, isn't it? And on the reduced bit in the homeware sale, there was a bundle of towelings, including face flannel, hand towel, bath towel, and bath sheet. The great big one that you can wrap around two of you, or one of you, if you're the size of me. And I looked at it and I sneered. It was incredibly cheap. And I mean stupidly cheap. It was reduced from like 30 quid to 10p, something like that. But it was the most awful colour you've ever seen in your life. And I sneered at it. And I actually took a picture of it and put it on Facebook. And I said, I know it's only 10p, but who the hell would ever buy towelings this colour? And I felt quite pleased with myself. And I continued with my shopping. And I left the store in due course, and I was about halfway to my car when I suddenly realised that those awful towelings were the same colour of my new bathroom suite now that I lived here at Windy Bum. So I went back in and bought them. Absolutely true. Oh dear. There we are. WetLegs Rear End says, I bet Penny Mordaunt would give a good spanking performance. Is it going to be one of those sort of live streams, Wetleg? Dave Smith has got a hidden comment. 4 half pennies would buy you a lady's tuppence. Quite possibly. I can remember spending a halfpenny, says Jimmy Quinn, the first one. And it's been raining all day in Bude, open brackets, Cornwall, close brackets. Cloudy and dry in South Links, says Bad Books. Dave Smith says hello to people. People are saying hello to Dave Smith, which is nice. Oh, thank you. Thank you, JCO2 Wax, says well deserved. That's really kind, mate. I really appreciate it. Oh, Trace says Mustard usually dances and shows his belly for donations like that. What, does that mean I have to do better than Mustard? Oh, very well. God, the things you have to do. No, I'm only joking. I can't dance. I have no sense of rhythm. Special Momo list is something the FBI used to round up the most wanted criminals, says Simon. Oh dear. Simon says Project Nigel needs that £7,000 to set himself up again. Could get transit face on the road and some fresh meat into the yard. Well, he certainly could. Well, he should have made the effort to make some sausage and mash in, shouldn't he? Ah, dear. Should we admit to who we voted for, says Simon, talking about the grape bangers and mash off? Why not? You shouldn't be ashamed. Anybody can see anyway. It tells you who voted for what. I just can't be asked to look. Laugh my arse off, says Trace. I'm on his naughty list. You bloody are. Oh, one health review. Jolly good. Let's have a look. This might be filth. Boaty has a shit list. L7 would be proud. What's L7? I don't know. I tried Boaty's chips at Ripley's Fish and Chips, says Dave Smith. The best chips ever. Quite possibly, I've never been to Ripley Fish and Chips. Dave Smith, who knows perfectly well what kind of restaurant I work in, likes to tease and pretend that I work at a fish and chip shop. And I would love to work in a fish and chip shop, actually. I'd be quite happy doing that. Well, I wouldn't mind that at all. But I don't. Felt like I was being told off by the headmaster, says Trace. Oh dear. Right. Oh, another one health review. Oh, jolly good. There we are. There we are. There we are. Belgium! Exclaims Simon. Belgium started the French fries. There was a thing where America had the face on the France and started calling them Liberty fries instead. Oh, God. Swimming at school was horrible. I hated it. And Dave Smith has got to go because Project Nigel has just uploaded a video. And he goes on to say that that it is better than me offloading. So, well, don't blame you, Dave. Enjoy. Oh, yes. The worst part of swimming at school was trying to put socks back on while your feet were still damp, says Blacklines. And trying to get your pants on when you were all damp and your pants were damp and you dropped them on the wet floor and you tried to pull them up and they all got into a clingy, tighty, wrappy bit. That was horrible. I hated bloody swimming at school. And I wasn't too bad. I'm actually, or I used to be, a really good swimmer, a really strong swimmer. I used to swim a lot when I was training. Imagine if you were one of the crap swimmers who had the polystyrene board of shame, which when you were really crap, they had to put under their stomach and do the doggy paddle around it like that. But when they got a bit more confident, they did the full Captain Speedy and had it out in front of them and they were kicking their legs. Oh God, I never had the board of shame. Have you ever tried flippers? The first time I wore flippers, I was amazed at the difference that they make. I was amazed. No wonder all of those flippered things can go like bats out of hell through the water. Flippers are amazing. There's a thought. If flippers are that good, and I can tell you that they are, if you were a man or lady with webbed toes, should you be disqualified or prevented from competing in the Olympics? Because you would have a competitive advantage over somebody who didn't have webbed toes, wouldn't you? Or webbed fingers. Same thing applies. Have you? And there's a question. Do you know anybody with webbed fingers or webbed toes? I do. I don't know anybody with webbed toes, but Rod Gilbert has got webbed fingers. or at least one webbed finger. Well, two. Well, is it one webbed finger? No, I suppose it's a minimum of 2 webbed fingers, isn't it? Because you'd have to have the web between 2 fingers. It wouldn't work just on one. Dear. I like having a royal family, says Trace. Yes, I watched, but I wouldn't say I was a royalist. I love the traditions, etc., that are steeped in history. Black Lion says, I watched Beards and Bangers doing a Wogan stroke Eurovision style commentary on the Coronation, and I enjoyed it very much. Simon says, Royalist, monarchist, or what was the third option? Podgerist. Option 3 where possible. I would have wanted to watch the Coronation, says Mustard, who I know supports that sort of thing mightily. Not so keen on football though, quite rightly. But I had to attend a wedding. Oh, that's why you were all poshed up wearing a suit and shoes. Dave Smith, who I thought had buggered off to watch Captain Mustard's video, says, I was invited... Well, actually, I'm not going to read that because you said you were going away. I can be petty, Dave Smith. I'm only joking, of course, I'll read it. I was invited down to London on Saturday. Third, oh, God. Right, yeah, okay. That was a joke there. I missed the Coronation, says Cheeseburger. Hello, Cheeseburger. Went to Astor instead. I am ambivalent to them. And that, what a great word, ambivalent. How many syllables is that? Ambivalent. 4 syllables. What a great word. And Liz is here and says hello. Liz, of course, being Jabberwocky 220 GTI. And I don't know why she's called that, because she hasn't got a 220 GTI. Or the Jabberwocky, as far as I'm aware. Her other name, of course, is Typhoon Cat. Both of which she has. So that makes more sense. Puff isn't homophobic, says Trace. It could cause offence, but you can't give offence, it can only be taken. Offence is in the ear of the beholder. I don't know why that's made me laugh. The ear of the beholder. Puff can be taken in the wrong way, will depend on the person, same as the N-word. Cheeseburger says, if you can say the N-word if you are one, can I use the C-word? Yeah, go for it, Cheeseburger. Wasn't Puff a magic dragon? He certainly was. Mustard says, I would love to be proper gay, just so I could join in with the hetero gay banter and not get upset. Well, there's a plea if you ever heard one. Somebody make Mustard into a proper gay. We had a conversation about this in the Facebook group. Now, I felt, and other people agreed, that myself and Mustard joshing and joking about calling each other our boyfriend and talking about homosexuality and pretending to be, right? It's because, as other people have pointed out and as we think, as far as we're concerned, it's normal, right? And it's even offensive to say that we see it as normal. It is normal. Of course it's normal. It's been around forever and it always will be around. Some people have a different preference than what we used to be told was the correct thing. So if it's normal and just part of normal life, why shouldn't we joke about it? Why should it be a verboten subject? You know, why can it not just be part of the humour mix like everything else? I don't like things where people take offence just because you talk about something. I don't believe in that. Being gay or being bi or being whatever the hell you choose to be, as far as I'm concerned, is and should be viewed by everybody as being just a normal thing. And if it's a normal thing, it means you can joke about it. And that's what Mustard and I do. Either that, or we are both really seriously in the closet and fighting our way to get out. And we're both of an age where, if that were the case, we would have done it long ago. Oh dear. I feel, says Simon, sometimes people wrongly hear / see someone talking about a subject, and automatically assume that because they are talking about something they might not be a part of, that they're against it. Exactly the point that I've just made, Simon. Exactly the point that I've just made. Yeah. There shouldn't be a problem with talking about sexuality or race or size or anything that you care to name if you're talking about it in an inclusive way. Obviously, if you're talking about it in an offensive or disrespectful or exclusionary manner, that's not okay. But, you know, it's like racism. I joke a lot about racism. Now, I'm mixed race, as most of you know. I was a lot darker when I was younger. For whatever reason, my skin has lightened over the years. When I was young, I was much darker, and I was in a completely white environment and white school, and I experienced a hell of a lot of racism. I was bullied, I was beaten up until I learned to bloody defend myself. And I experienced a lot of racism, as did my mother, who was obviously a different generation, and she was of the generation where she would be refused service at a pub because of her colour. And I joke about it a lot now, and I reverse joke about racism at work. Somebody let the internet escape again. Not sure where I got to, but yeah, at work I accuse them of being racist to white people, i.e. me. I accuse them of being racist to black people, i.e. me. And I accuse them of being racist towards anybody who's not the exact shade of brown that they are. And it's all just fun because there's obviously no offence meant. It's obviously an inclusive thing, and it's just a joke. And I think that being able to be humorous about something, or to joke about it, or to take it in fun, indicates that you're accepting of it. And that's got to be a good thing, I think. I mean, hasn't it? I mean, I don't think it's right. People who feel that they are, or who actually may be in a minority, I don't think it's healthy for them to sit on some sort of cloud where nobody can say anything about them that could even be very slightly considered as derogatory. I mean, that's not healthy. I mean, surely what they really want, if they genuinely crave inclusivity, then they want to be part of the gang having a laugh. And part of the gang and having a laugh means that you joke about stuff. If somebody's really tall, you call them shorty. If somebody's really thin, you call them tubs. Just all of that sort of thing. So, anyway, that's what I think. Everything Cars is with us and says, hello everyone. And hello to you. Simone asks, what did everyone think of my most recent film? I'd be interested to hear the answers to that. Bad Book says, Ronnie Cray didn't like being called a puff. Yeah, well, that's because he wasn't an out puff, was he? He was, I've frozen it. And also, you know, there's a thing, right? You haven't got to go all of that far back in British society to get to a time where homosexuality wasn't okay. Indeed, some of you youngsters might not realise committing a homosexual act used to be a criminal offence, and if you were caught and convicted, then you had two choices. You could either go to jail or, believe it or not, you could be chemically castrated. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? That is one of the shames of recent British history. But that was a criminal thing. But even now, there are pockets of society where it's not generally considered okay to be homosexual. So many sports, right? Many sportsmen will not dare to come out as being gay. And that's not right, is it? I don't think anyway. But certainly if you go back to Ronnie Cray that we were talking about, then being a gangster definitely wasn't acceptable to be gay. And that was why he didn't like being called it. Because he was being called what was considered to be an unacceptable thing. Like in the mafia. Totally unacceptable to be gay in the mafia. But, and this is how hypocritical the mafia is. Right. If you're found to be gay and you're in the mafia, then you will be killed in a very unpleasant way. All right? But if you go to prison, you're allowed to be gay. Not a problem. How hypocritical is that? They have some funny ideas. They have some funny ideas. But yeah, so people are offended by being called a puff or whatever, right? But that's because we're thinking of a time when being a puff or whatever you want to call a homosexual gentleman, because we're talking about chaps here, was unacceptable. So you weren't saying, oh, you're a bit of a puff. You were saying you are an unacceptable person. And that was why it was offensive. But if it's a perfectly acceptable thing, it wouldn't bother you, or it shouldn't bother you. And, you know, hence the 4 puffs and a piano thing. That's them saying, yeah, we're puffs. It's okay now. Deal with it. And I like that. And that, you know, that's the way it should be, I think. Oh God, another one held to review, and it's WetLegs rear end again. I can't. WetLegs rear end says, I cannot feel your new knob as it's in the front end, dumbass. Oh God, how long before there's a bloody YouTube account popping along to my live streams or videos called WetLegs knob? You know it's going to happen. Jimmy Quinn prefers the French lady. And Everything Car says, how are you tonight, Boaty? It's kind of you to ask. I'm very well, thank you. And I hope we find you well too. Thank you for joining us, Everything Cars. The cupboard is as bright as the fridge, says Simon. Yeah, it is. The French lady is funny, says JCO2 Wax. Puff is in the same word as queer. People will respond differently to it. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're going to respond to it in the way that it's meant, isn't it? If you say it as an insult or a threat, then of course they're going to react badly. But it needn't be either of those things. Rover Joe asks, do you have an upstairs Hoover too? I do, Rover Joe. I do. I have one of those super light Vax things upstairs that I find tremendously convenient, because my downstairs chap, which is the original Hoover, is a big old contraption with a built-in headlight. You know, a proper big, upright, massive, great heavy thing. And it was a pain in the arse to drag it up and down the stairs. So, Now, and before you have a go at me for being profligate and having a double Hoover situation, those were the days of the internet giveaway sites. Facebook Marketplace sort of killed them a bit, but there used to be sites for each town or area which were giveaway sites, and people would put stuff on that they were giving away for free. And that was where I got my upstairs Hoover. A very posh house in Matlock was giving away this lovely Hoover that was now surplus to requirements. It had been replaced by an even posher one. And before they gave it away, they very kindly serviced it, replaced all the doings, and added more replacement doings that I've still got in the pantry there. So it didn't cost me anything. Oh, and Simon knew and said yes. The cupboard looks brilliant, great purchase. I'm so pleased with that because I've got my tool chest in there and everything, and I've got a massive set of little drawers with all sorts of things in. And even on a bright summer's day, you can't see. So every time I went in there, I had to drag my phone out, get the torch on my phone to look to find a screwdriver or a socket or whatever it was that I was looking for. So I'm delighted with that. And it was, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was like $2.49, $2.99, something like that, plus the cost of a cheap bulb. And I've been living with that for 7 years. 7 years. And it cost under £3 to sort it. I should have done that years ago. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. You know that pleasure that you get from sorting a problem, and it turns out to be really cheap and easy to sort, and you're really chuffed, but you also kind of kick yourself for waiting so long to do it. Can you still get coloured rolls, asked Simon. I don't know, mate. I haven't seen any. I used to have rolls with crossword clues on them. So you could do a crossword while you were... So do you keep blue screen wash in the bathroom so it matches? No, I don't, Bad Books. I don't. My screen wash is in Bob, the inexpertly constructed palace of motory delight. And I'm not sure what colour it is because I bought a load of, with one of my Halfords vouchers when I renewed my car insurance, I bought a load of Autoglim screen wash, but I haven't started on it yet, so I don't know what colour it is. But it wouldn't matter what colour it is because it's not in an opaque container. So all you would see is the colour of the container, and being Autoglim, that is white. So no, it doesn't go into the bathroom. Love the bathroom OCD. I'm the same around the house. Good for you. Oh, don't freeze your wine. Right, I know it already. Oh, God. Yeah, it's kind of frozen again. It's turned into slush. Let's leave it out for a bit. It can defrost by candlelight. Captain Mustard says, gosh, this really is bollocks. Toilet roll OCD, you great puff. Watch the comments rolling, Mustard. If Boaty is poor, says Cheeseburger, he should be using the Sports Argus as loo paper. Those were the days. On a nail in the outside lavvy. Simon maintains it's important that the colours of one's bathroom don't distract you from the job in hand, if you'll forgive the expression. Quite right. Right, they're complaining that they've got no chance of keeping my wine unfrozen because I don't use the fridge like a normal person. I do use the fridge like a normal person. I've got stuff in the fridge there. I've got wine in the wine fridge. But when it's a cheap wine, the fridge doesn't get it cold enough to take the nasty taste away. It needs to be that little bit colder. And that means it needs to reside in the freezer for a short space of time. Admittedly, I leave it in there too long and it then freezes, but nobody's perfect. And we all make mistakes. As the Dalek said, climbing off the dustbin. Trace says, I do love me a magenta stroke raspberry towel. He should turn... Oh, Cheeseburger. He should turn comments off. He takes no notice of them. It just takes me a while to get to them, is all. Dinner news, says Simon. We had haddock and chips. Excellent. It's pissed it down all day today in Plymouth, says Simone. Crikey, he's well behind, am I? Been raining all day in Bromsgrove. Right. Simon chanced it and went out to paint Henrietta this afternoon. It rained just as I sprayed the first coat on. That's typical, isn't it? Hello, says Matt. What did I miss? Have I missed too much to watch or catch up or join in with? No, not at all. I'm not an hour behind, Cheeseburger. I can't be an hour behind. I've only been going an hour and 20. Well, could be an hour behind then, I suppose. Okay. Oh, interesting question from Simon. How are the salt and pepper grinders doing now they aren't allowed on the table? Well, they're not doing very well because I threw them straight in the bin. If they're not on the table, where are they going to go? And to be honest, I never used them as salt and pepper grinders because they weren't very good. They were purely decorative. And as I wasn't allowed to have them as decorative things on the table, I threw them away. I do need a salt and pepper grinder for display over there by the balsamic vinegars. There's a space for them, but I can't afford to buy any nice ones just yet. But I will do when some come up, maybe at a charity shop or something, and they will go over there. But no, the big wooden dildo ones, they've gone. Mustard's gone off for a bit. Webbed toes and fingers shouldn't be disqualified, says Trace, as they were born like it. Yes, if they had it surgically created. So basically, if you were born with webbed fingers and webbed toes, you ought to become a swimmer, because that is what God himself designed you to be. Oh, 00 Garage is here. Splendid. Webbed fingers, says Cheeseburger. Anyone from Tipton? A bit of regional racism there. But he's got a point. Blackline says, I bought a narcissistic cow today. All it does is go, me. And another one held for review. Let's have a look. I'm not reading that out, Matt. I'm in enough trouble as it is. I'm not reading that out. I'm not reading that one out either, Cheeseburger. I remember doing it. Interesting. Matt says, I remember a time where you'd get twatted if you had a gay or even camp and slightly possibly gay friend. True, I remember that time as well. Yet now the same bullies determine what is and isn't homophobic. That is a bloody good point there, Matt. Sometimes you make an excellent point. A green thing has happened. A really nice green thing has happened. Oh, and it's a lovely JCO2 Wax, who has very kindly become, oh, I'm really looking for it. He's become a channel member. It's another channel member. That's wonderful. So I'm definitely going to have to do a new video outro. Oh, videos. I need to talk to you about that. I'm hoping to start my new series tomorrow, and I would like your thoughts on it. Oh, and I've got to announce mine and Mustard's new business. Haven't done that. Thank you very much to our newest channel member. Really grateful, really appreciate it. And, well, you're doubly on the Momo list now, aren't you? Liz hasn't got her reading glasses on, so please excuse typos. A little joke from 00. I'm not homophobic. I like my house. Oh, and another one held review, this time from Matt. Oops, wrong button. Oh, hang on. Also, I remember a kid standing out of the window doing a lesson meant, sorry, he was retarded. But now those same bullies call retard a bad word because autism is real. I think retard was always at best an unkind word, wasn't it? Oh, and now we've got the ghosts meddling with the internet going off. My kids are mixed race. My kids are mixed race, says Mark on Motoring, and my son has a group of friends of varied race and background. If anyone were to hear the things they say to each other in jest, there would be uproar. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's and that's the thing, right? Racism is abhorrent, Mark, and I know that you would agree with me. Any decent person would agree with me. Racism is abhorrent. We are one people. We are all brothers and sisters under the skin. But I don't like... I get the banter within a mixed race community. But the time when we know that racism is finally at an end will be when white people can join in with mixed race people, brown people and black people, and all have that banter, and it's not a problem. That's when the world will be properly sorted, I think. Because otherwise it's just an inverse racism where things become okay for... It's a way of making the excluded into the inclusive, right? But if they do that and they make things okay for that, they reclaim words, like the N word being reclaimed. So it becomes an okay word within that community, but it's still an offensive word if it's spoken by a white person. And that's just turning the pillowcase inside out. That's turning the excluded into the included and inclusive, and it's excluding the white people. And what we need to get towards is just, you know, the words of the song, the old melting pot, where it doesn't matter an arse what colour you... And I've lived in communities where that's a thing. I've lived in communities where people are genuinely colourblind, and black, white, brown, yellow, whatever, all mixed together quite happily. And there are communities like that, and like even universities used to be like that. Schools are like that, I'm sure, in many places now. And that's the way that the whole world needs to be, in my opinion. Oh, you spotted the box of falling down stuff in the fridge. Well spotted, Trace. The reason for that, my lovely, is that I went to the shop, went to get wine. They didn't have any bottles. They only had the box. And I don't like buying a box because it's a £13 investment, and often I haven't got £13, whereas I will have £4.50 for a bottle. But also, a bottle gives a very good frame of reference. So, you know that God created the bottle of wine to show you that that is the correct amount to drink in a sitting, right? So, you drink your bottle of wine. If you open another bottle of wine, you know that you're being naughty, right? So, you've got that frame of reference. You might open a second bottle of wine, but you know that you're being naughty. You know you shouldn't be doing that. You know it's not good for you. You know you're drinking too much. So you might have a bit of a snifter from it, but you're not going to go mad. With a box, you've got no frame of reference. And my fear is always that you'll just go for it with no backwards glance. I'm not reading that out, Matt. Yeah, Malcolm Opering says, the treatment of Alan Turing due to his sexuality was horrendous. Yeah, I mean, that is probably the most one of the most high-profile cases. And yeah, he chose chemical sterilization. And, you know, it's just an utterly, utterly abhorrent thing. And as a nation, then we should all feel a level of shame over that. And yeah, okay, it didn't stop him working on codes, as Cheeseburger points out, but that doesn't make it okay. And Cheeseburger also points out, you couldn't be in the army if you were gay until recently. Yeah. We're still not there entirely, are we? Oh. Underscore says, Simon, you git, no offence. You mentioned Hull. Now I remember I've not been over the Humber Bridge. Shit, must get that done. Yeah, you absolutely must. Although, I went over the Humber Bridge for the first time last year. And I made a video of it for Boaty's Bridges, which was a thing then, and which will be a thing again when I once again go over a bridge. Although hopefully a year on, it'll be somewhat an improved thing. Although, one of my bridge videos is my favourite video, for reasons that anybody who's watched it will know. But when I did the Humber Bridge, I don't mind admitting I was shitting myself all the way over. It is a really terrifying bridge. And I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it's because the sides are so low, which was a misguided thing. It just gives the impression that you could, if you had a puncture or something, or a spasm, you could drive off it because the sides are that low. Now, the other problem with the sides being that low is it's a very popular suicide spot. People go there to jump off because you can jump off really easily. The bridge was closed for a week because the staff were so traumatized by the number of suicides they had within a single week that they couldn't turn up for work. True. So if you do go, I mean, it's a fabulous bridge, but I don't know if I was just on a bad day or something. I don't think I was on a bad day. I'd been on a road trip that was supposed to be an Ivor Biggin homage. And I was supposed to be going to Sutton-on-Sea. And I planned it all out. And I went in Henrietta Pie. And I planned it all out. I knew what I was going to eat, everything. Got to Sutton-on-Sea and it was closed. It was literally closed. Everything in the town was closed. So I went on to Mablethorpe instead. And I don't know the East Coast at all. I'm thinking about doing more East Coast stuff this year. And then I went a highly circuitous way home and went over the Humber Bridge. And as I say, oh God, I was shitting myself all the way over. I found it to be a terrifying bridge. Did you just call your vacuum cleaner downstairs, chap? Yeah, I did. Are you christening your barbecue for a Boaty's meetup this year? Asked Simon. What a good idea. What a good idea. I should do that, shouldn't I? Right, it's a nightmare trying to organise anything, because everybody's too far away, or you organise it like I did with the pub thing for next week, which we're going to have to cancel, I think. Everybody wants to go to the thing, the Great British Car Journey instead, which is absolutely fine. So whenever you organise it, there'll be something else on, or people will be too far away, or whatever. Especially if it's a relatively small thing. I mean, if it's a massive thing that everybody wants to go to, then yeah. But if it's just a little community thing, like I'm trying to do, it's a lot harder. So maybe the answer is to combine our community things with bigger things. So instead of trying to do what I've been thinking to do in and organising a pub lunch or a breakfast, or even having you all round here and having a party in my garden, maybe the answer is to combine the community thing with an actual thing that people were more likely to go to anyway. I mean, I must say that worked really, really well at Matt's do, at the Furious Driving do, at the Motorist. So I think that's probably the way forward. So I won't necessarily organise any just us little community things, because I suppose it's going to make more sense to go to a bigger organised do. Although I'm still not going to the Great British Car Journey. I'm not paying a £5 to go and not go into something. I mean, to be charged not to go into something, that's just a fucking piss take. And I hate people taking the piss. And to me, that is a piss take. Yeah, you can turn up, you can put your card outside and be an attraction for us and attract people for our business. So yeah, you can do that, but you've got to pay us to do it. You've got to pay us not to go inside, and you've got to pay us for the privilege of spending your money at our cafe. Bollocks, bollocks. It's a piss take and I won't do it. I'll do something else instead. Oh, you can get black toilet paper. It's very expensive. Oh, I didn't know that. Frozen the wine. Yes, I have. Drink vodka. You can't freeze that, says 00. And that is a very good point. And that is exactly what I used to do. Now, when I was living in Ukraine, obviously, I used to drink Ukrainian Stolishnia vodka. And the way to drink it there is from the freezer, because a good vodka will not freeze. Now, a cheap vodka will. Your 37.5% ABV vodka, that will freeze. But the good stuff, the 40% plus stuff, it won't freeze. And the way to drink vodka, if you're Ukrainian or Russian or anything like that, straight from the freezer, neat, with black pepper. Sprinkle some black pepper, and throw it. And it's absolutely fabulous. The reason for the black pepper is because vodka was traditionally home distilled, and it would have a lot of a lot of other bits and pieces in it due to the home distillation, and specifically would often have fusel oil for some reason, various impurities. And if you put black pepper in it, then some sort of chemical reaction, the black pepper would take all of the impurities right down to the bottom of the glass, and you could just throw back the clear spirit. But you get used to it, and it's actually a fabulous taste. I did the same when I was living in America. That was exactly how I used to drink vodka, although in America it wasn't Stolly, it was Johnny Walker Blue Label, I think. Vodka used to be my best friend, but it became an unhealthy friendship. So I had to turn my back on my good old friend Mr. Vodka about 5-6 years ago now. Vodka makes it, if you enjoy a drink of an evening, and I do, I unashamedly do, then vodka, the problem with vodka, if you get carried, it's too easy to drink. And if you get carried away chatting or doing whatever you're doing, or even working, then suddenly, before you know it, you're so pissed you can't walk up the stairs. And that's horrible. And you do stuff that you can't remember the next day. It gives you holes in your life, and that's no good. And doesn't do your liver any good either, obviously. So, you know, whereas a nice bottle of wine does you no harm, does you more good than harm, and you go to bed and you sleep soundly, and life is generally wonderful. Yay, says JCO2 Wax, I'm a member. Do I get shouted out by the French lady? You certainly do. As soon as she's got a day off from the massage parlour, she will be recording a new channel members thing for me. She's good like that. Bless her. No, it doesn't cost extra, Simon. Don't be naughty. New series thoughts. I prefer parallel. Okay. 5 years old, says Matt, and the teacher called me retarded for being left-handed. And Simon says, oh, Juju is a southpaw. Cheeseburger says, I'm a left-handed retard as well. Black Lines is also a left-hand lug. Right, I'll tell you the story again then, shall I? Right, I'm left-handed, and both my mother and father were left-handed. I know I've told you this story before, so apologies if you've heard it before. Now, being left-handed didn't used to be acceptable, right? So, my mother at school used to be hit with a metal ruler on her left hand every time she tried to write with it. So she had to learn to write with her non-natural hand, with her right hand, and wrote with her right hand all her life until she became afflicted with arthritis in her right hand, and then, in her, mid to late 60s, eventually went back to her left hand. Terrible, I know. My father, similar age, also had the same thing. Left-handed, was hit by the teacher for writing with his left hand. The difference was, my mother didn't have a father. Well, she did have a father, but nobody knew who he was. My mother was the result of a rape, so there was no father in situ. There wasn't even a mother in situ. She was brought up by her grandmother. So, and my mother was literally being the result of a rape and mixed race, was literally the black sheep of the family, was spurned by everybody and was given to the family paedophile as a plaything so that he would leave their kids alone. No support structure, in other words. My father was a different kettle of fish. So my father's at school, hit for writing with his left hand. Went home, my grandfather, his father, noticed the marks and asked what had happened and was told that he'd been beaten for writing with his natural hand. My grandfather was not a man to trifle with. My grandfather was a highly decorated war hero, a regimental sergeant major in the paratroop regiment. A man who was scared of nothing but a man commanding utter respect both in his army career and as a civil engineer overseeing the overcast mines. The strongest, hardest man that I've ever encountered in my entire life. Anyway, so having noticed the beat marks on his son, he went down to school the next day and popped into the classroom and took the offending teacher outside to have a word with him. And immediately afterwards, when the teacher was able to return to his duties, the school made a new policy that actually it was okay to be left-handed. And as a result, my father was left-handed until the day that he coughed it. Trace says, I have 2 mixed race grandchildren, same mix as Boaty, same mix as me. And they hate the banter regarding race. They just find it all annoying and get quite offended as they feel it's completely racist, whatever. I think I get what you mean there, Trace. Yeah, if it's an in-race thing, then I can understand. At the end of the day, surely we all just want to be inclusive and included. We don't want divisions, whether that's because of who we choose to pop our little tinkles into or rub our tuppences up against, or what colour skin we happen to be born with, or whether we've got a big body or a small body. Can't we all just be people and rub along together? The only people who should be excluded are arseholes, and rightly bloody so. That's the only division that there should be. If there's going to be a them and us, it should be arseholes and us. There, now then. Oh, and an upgraded membership. Oh, Club SE. Bless you. Thank you very much. Woohoo. At the end of the day, says Simon, we're all said and done. Aren't we all just going through life trying to get by with as little fuss as possible? Be nice to each other and be honest to yourself. Wise words there. I agree, says Trace, with a box of wine. I can drink a whole one and it doesn't register. Bloody hell. Oh, I couldn't do that. I mean, if I drank, oh God, oh no, I'd be ill. I can do a bottle and a half of wine. I couldn't do any more than that. Oh well, the frozen wine is defrosted, so that's nice. A bottle of wine is easily drank in one sitting. Well, I agree. That's why it's designed to be that size. It's designed to be drank in one sitting. Oh, and now we're back to talking about Alan Turing. Oh, bugger that, Mark. You ought to try going over the Humber Bridge sat up high in a truck. Yeah, I really don't fancy that. Would that make it worse or better? I imagine it would make it worse. In fact, that I would imagine that would make going over any bridge like going over the Humber Bridge in a car. know a gay couple, says Simone. One of them was... Bloody hell. What? Jesus Christ. Oh, that's horrible. One of them was strung up on a tree as a child by his father and left there. Horrible. It is indeed. Steve says, I've walked across the Humber Bridge a few times. It takes ages and is windier than you'd think. Also, there are holes in the walkway so you can see right down to the water. Yeah, bugger that. Years and years and years ago, I cycled over the original Severn Bridge. I wouldn't fancy walking over the Humber Bridge. I really wouldn't. Oh, one held for review. That's exciting. Oh, wrong button. That's less to do with them being gay and more to do with their dad being a bastard. Quite right. And I can't unhide that. It won't allow me. Oh, the poor sod. I think Simon's right about getting footage from the British car journey. Yeah, I totally agree. Stick with your meetups. Just check the big events first, as little meetups will be cool. I did check, and I didn't see anything that was on, Simon. But the British car journey thing wasn't well advertised. I didn't pick up on it, and I think that's why they were doing the shout-outs, because they were getting a bit near to the date and they didn't have anybody booked. Or maybe it's because they're profiteering charlatans and they want to charge people for not going into their bloody venue. Cheeky bastards. Yeah, you can come in for a tenner, but if you don't want to go into the museum itself, then you can pay £5 and we will let you not go in, for fuck's sake. What sort of a business model is that? It's like McDonald's charging you 10 quid to walk by and not go in. Bloody outrageous. And I don't want to go to the Great British Car Journey anyway. I've seen what's there through other people's videos and whatnot. Yeah, I don't want to do it. It's nothing that I haven't seen before, driven before, sold before, owned before, 1,000 times. So I'm sure as hell not going to pay to go and do that. Absolutely not. It's really annoyed me, that has. Really annoyed me. Neither do I want to pay extra to drive a knackered old TR7 around a little oval on a poxy car park. God almighty. There's a bit of background to that business. It was a long time getting off the ground, and there were a lot of problems, and there were a lot of things going on. There were a lot of, how can I put it, inconsistencies with a lot of things and with the management, and things that shouldn't be, you know. I can't say too much. Google it, and you'll find out. I said in a comment on something in a Facebook group, something that I've dealt with them over certain things, and you know, their business practice doesn't surprise me. They've got form, let's put it that way. Anyway, I hope those of you that do go have a fabulous time. Oh, has anyone seen Matt's Crown Vic? Such a shame. Yeah, I put a post up about it in the group, actually. Really feel for him. I mean, that is a serious bodge, isn't it? That really is a serious bodge. Never seen so much filler. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, though. It's not the. I mean, it's gutting. Don't get me wrong. It's gutting, but the old online community has swung into shape. He's He's ordered all of the bits that he needs now. They're coming from Poland, of all places, believe it or not. Yeah, he's found the wings and the sill sections. Everything that he needs is coming from Poland, really cheaply. I'm sure it was Poland, he said. So it is going to be sorted. You know, I mean, when have you ever seen Matt defeated by something? He just rolls his sleeves up and gets it sorted, doesn't he? But yeah, I mean, you could see how gutted the guy was. I think it was because it was unexpected. The Crown Vic was supposed to be one of his safe pair of hands that wasn't going to need anything major like that. So yeah, you'd be gutted by the unexpectedness of it, the shock, and the sheer anger that somebody would do that and pass it off as an okay thing. I can kind of understand it because the Crown Vic has got a different structure, so all of those parts weren't actually structural. They're not structurally integral to the car. So that, I mean, it doesn't really excuse it, but it kind of excuses doing a bodge when it's purely an aesthetic bodge. And, you know, it comes, but obviously in the UK, it was always going to fail an MOT because that area is too close to the seatbelt anchorage. And if it's within a certain distance, then that's it. You've got an automatic fail. But yeah, I did see it, and yeah, I was gutted. More filler than your average soap star in Matt's Crown Vic. Gutted for him. Just look at some of the cars Derek drives on Vice Grip Garage. They really don't care about condition in the States. Has he scrapped it, asked Simone. No, God, no, of course he's not. Does anybody hear what's just rolled in? And Cheeseburger, What? What's in the way? Oh, I've moved the wine. It's not in the way anymore. When I was little, says Simone, I could write with both hands. I remember the teacher tying my left hand behind the back. Boaty, says Cheeseburger. We were the first generation that was allowed to write left-handed. Yeah, I suppose we were, weren't we? Again, that's a shocking thing. I can remember having warm milk at school. It was gross, left or right-handed. Boaty, General Cheeseburger says you can't see your left nipple because the wine bottle is in the way. Please can you move it? Thank you. Done. I'm ambidextrous, says 00. I can do naff all with both hands. Oh, I'd give my right arm to be ambidextrous. I really would. Oh, Thatcher stole our milk. You knew that was coming, didn't you? He has moved the wine bottle. Yes, hurrah. I have a left-handed pen and left-handed scissors. Oh, now the glass is in the way. Sodding hell. You're a demanding lot. Free the nipple. Left-handed scissors in the 80s were shit. I'm convinced there were still normal scissors with different coloured bits on the handles. I used to have a left-handed checkbook. Anybody remember those? And I had a left-handed knife, and I couldn't, a left-handed bread knife, and I couldn't believe how much difference that made. There used to be a shop in Evesham, a left-handed shop, and oh God, some of the stuff in there was hilarious. I went over the Clifton Bridge with a hangover. That wasn't funny, I can imagine. Every journey is better in a truck, says underscore, except ferry crossings and plane journeys. Trucks can't do either of those. Trucks can go on a ferry, and trucks have a better time on a ferry because you get to go to the truckers only cafe where you get bigger portions for cheaper. I always used to blag my way into the truck cafe on the old Channel crossings. There was always a friendly trucker who'd take you in. A friendly trucker. Rhyming slang or... Christ almighty. It's midnight. I've not talked about anything that I wanted to. Oh, it'll have to roll over to tomorrow, I suppose. Mark says, I've driven the TR7, a Great British Car Journey. My dad owned one and said it was rubbish, so I wanted to find out for myself. I've had more TR7s than you could poke a stick at. And I've had TR8s. I had I had the ex-Tony Pond rally car, one of the factory 00M Regis. The best one I had was a Grinnell TR8 with the, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the 4.2, basically the Rover V8, bored out to 4.2, tuned, this, that and the other, and that was a TR8 drop head, and that thing was hilarious. I loved that, absolutely loved that. But generally speaking, TR7s were an absolute crock of shit. And my favourite TR7 story is when they were first revealed at whichever motor show it was. And one of the most famous Italian designers walked around one side and sort of went, and then walked around the other side and said, oh no, they've done the same on this side as well. Yeah, they were not a good car. They were not a good car. You could engineer them into being a good car, should you so wish. But factory-wise, they were not a good car in 1,000,001 different ways. Oh, a company's house search on Great British Car Journey tomorrow. Oh yeah, we're still talking about the Crown Vic. I had a left-handed checkbook, says Cheeseburger. The stub was horizontal, not vertical. Bedtime for Black Lines. Right, okay, I've caught up with the comments, we've reached the end. And it's coming up to the time where we're all going to need to sod off. So, what did I want to tell you about? Well, I wanted to tell you about mine and Mustard's new business, which is We'll Call Your Mother. And basically, we will call your mother for £50. So, 50 quid, and we will... we will telephone each and any of your mothers. I don't know why. I was just driving to the shops through town this afternoon, lunchtime, about 12 o'clock. And I just got this thing, We'll Call Your Mother. And I thought that'd be a really good business name. So then I tried to think of a business that could use that business name. And it's quite specific. And the only business I could think of that could use the business name We'll Call Your Mother would be a business where we charged people to call their mother. So, that's that's it. I'm sure I couldn't, Cheeseburger. Upcoming content plans. Well, that was supposed to be a discussion. After we had a discussion in the Facebook group about what somebody else thought Project Nigel should do with his channel, I was going to ask you what you all thought you should do, what you all thought I should do with mine. My own plans, hopefully starting tomorrow, if the weather holds, as I've told you before, is going to be Land Rover lunches, where I take the Land Rover out to somewhere nice in the Peak District with some camping stuff and stoves and whatnot, and basically just do some outdoor cooking and eat lunch somewhere nice. So cook and eat lunch in or near a Land Rover, basically. I don't know whether it'll be any good in terms of content. People seem to like cooking outside stuff. People seem to like camping stuff. People seem to like Land Rovers. I don't know. I'm doing it just because I fancy doing it. Long-term viewers, long-term committed viewers will remember that this is something I talked about at the back end of last year in a video where I was driving home from the Yard of Dreams, and I said that it was something that I wanted to do this year. And I remembered that I wanted to do it, and I have since acquired a Land Rover, hence the idea of Land Rover lunches. I like the idea of taking a Land Rover to somewhere remote in the Peak, setting up a camping table and a stove, making a bit of lunch and eating it in the arse end of nowhere and making a video about it. And it will tie in nicely with the videos I've got coming up with my head chef, Ram, where we're going to be doing some cooking videos. Some of them will be in his house or in my house, but we are going to be going up, we're going to be going further away. The Land Rover lunches, they're all going to be like relatively local to me because I'll be doing them on working days when I've got to get back and go to work. But the ones that I do with Ram will be further afield. And they will be done on a Monday, possibly and hopefully with Captain Mustard coming along as well. And the first one I've got planned for that is Llandudno, top of the Great Orme. But that could be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Is that bloody caravan going anywhere, says Cheeseburger. It must stink of food. It's us, isn't it? It's me and Mustard. We never seem to get anything done. I've come up with yet another idea for a joint project with Mustard, a serious one, not arsing about like the we'll call your mother thing. This is a very serious one and it's for future content and I think it could be very worthwhile, but it depends on us being professional and planning and executing. And we don't seem to be great at doing that. And all of the plans for the caravan have so far come to naught. But hopefully something will happen and you will see us rock up in a caravan at one of the car shows and we'll make some Momo and try we'll call your wife instead, says Cheeseburger. Blackmail is a wonderful thing. 00 says, you do realise someone will copy your business idea and call it we'll call any mother. Oh, what's that, says Trace. Food, cooking and scenery. Yep, thumbs up from Simon. Psychonaut7 says, sounds great. JCO2 Wax says, Land Rover lunch idea sounds good. What a stupid idea, says Jimmy Quinn. I call your mother. I'll give you £100,000 if you could call my mother. Not just the Peak, says Trace. Different places, please. Okay, well, what different places? Give me some ideas. It can't be too far away, though, because these are going to be days where I've got to get back and go to work. I mean, yeah, I've said the Peak, but I've thought of hilltops, secluded laybys up high. I've thought of nice train stations. I thought go down to Grindleford, somewhere by a river, somewhere by a waterfall. I don't know. Happy to hear any ideas for anything. You should take the caravan out for a spin with the TD4. Oh, yeah, that was kind of the plan. That was part of the reason for buying it. Although I think it would be fun to tow the caravan with Eric we have towed it with Eric, and it works perfectly well. We just need to organise a car show or something that we can go to in it. You should come up to Northumberland. Yes, get Roger Boaty out on the road. Oh, we will. Boaty has successfully drank a whole bottle and is now raiding the fridge for more. Not quite the whole bottle, but yeah, getting there. You should turn the caravan into a mobile post office and tour the Peak District. Serious idea, says Simon. Yeah. It's hard to plan stuff when you think ahead. Honestly, the caravan at a show will be the best thing to do. Going to get so much attention. I agree. Pennine, says Trace. Yeah, I could do that with mustard on a Monday. I'm not reading that, Cheeseburger. But, yeah, oh well, there we are. There we are. My biggest thing is, I had all of these plans last year, or all of these ideas, and it ended up just nothing happening, and the year slipped away, and then it was a really long winter, and I don't want to be morbid, but I'm of an age now where, you know, God knows how many more summers I've got left. I don't want to waste any time, and I want to do all of these things instead of just talking about them. But days just keep slipping away, like today. You know, weather was piss poor. Now, tomorrow, it's supposed to be raining all week here. That's what the weather forecast says. And I really want to do the first Land Rover lunch. I'm going to do an easy one. I'm going to do Momo. Dead easy to do. Just got to take the stove, take the steamer, make the Momo, blah, blah, blah. I bought the chair and the table off Facebook, as you know. I've showed them to you. Jimmy Quinn says they're crap. And all this week, the weather looks like being crap. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. But maybe I should just do it anyway. Maybe tomorrow I should just go and do it. And if it's pouring down with rain, and that means I need to cook crouched in the back of the Land Rover, you know, in the boot, then maybe that's what would make the video interesting. Maybe I should just big fat get out there and do it, and keep getting out there and keep doing it and keep challenging myself. You know, I've been thinking about things to try and cook. Oh, I did do a thing today. I bought something I couldn't really afford. Remember my stove that I bought about 8-9 months ago, last year? Well, when I went into that B&M place, I'd been thinking about having 2 stoves because I've been thinking about stuff that I can cook outside. And it's really difficult doing one pan cooking. And so I was looking at double camping stoves, but they're all of a type that you need to have one of those camping gas bottles, and it's a separate thing to carry, and it's faff with a hose, and you need a special table and all of that. Whereas the beauty of these little chaps here, they're self-contained. You've all seen them, you've all probably got one. They're self-contained, they're in a case, and I bought one last year for, I'd been looking online, I'd been looking to buy one second hand, and suddenly they came up in that Home Bargains place for like 14 quid, when people were asking 20 quid for second hand ones. So I bought one, and it was great. And I thought, well, maybe if I bought another one of those and I had 2, I could be a lot more flexible with what I cooked. But then my OCD kicked in, and if I had 2, I'd have to have 2 that were the same, yeah? Because OCD. Having two that were different would just be a nightmare for me because I'm weird. So I looked online to find one that was exactly the same as this, in chrome / aluminium, lakescape, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't find one anywhere new. Looked everywhere on eBay, Facebook Marketplace for a second-hand one. Couldn't find one. Went into Home Bargains today, and would you believe they still had one? One only. The last one they had. Maybe it was still from last year. So, wasn't planning to buy it, but I bought it. 14 quid. Had the petrol money that I didn't spend on going to the Yard of Dreams. So I just bought it. So I've now got two of these. Brilliant. Check out how easy they are. Look. Bang. Look. There you go. And they're great. I've cooked on these. I've cooked at the Yard of Dreams. I've made Momo. Turn you off. So I've now got two of these. Whoops. I've got a folding chair. I've got a small folding side table. What I need to find is some sort of bigger table that I can fit two stoves on, and then I am really good to go. And I've just, today I ordered some luggage elastic bungee things, only a couple of quid, off Amazon, which will arrive tomorrow. So I can fix them all in the boot of the Land Rover and have that as like a permanent setup. And all of you longer term viewers know that I've got a cool box, I've got a picnic hamper, all of that sort of thing. So I'm pretty much good to go. I just need a bigger table that I can actually cook on outside. And I've been looking at those camp kitchen units and stuff that you can buy. They're all expensive. I've been looking at second-hand ones, obviously, because I can't buy new. They're all quite expensive as well. So I'm waiting for one of those to come up cheaply. There is locally on Facebook Marketplace, and I messaged just before I went live. And it's not a cooking table or anything like that. It's one of those, you'll know the sort of thing. It's a picnic table with attached seats. Seats for people. You'll all have seen them. You probably all had one. We had one when I was married and the kids were smaller. And the seats fold in and it all folds up and it's got a handle, right? There's one of those on Marketplace, but in aluminium. And I thought, well, I could use that as a cooking table, and then it would double as a table to actually eat at as well, if it's just me or if it's ram or mustard, 3 or 4 of us could eat around that, and I can cook on it as well. So I thought that might actually be the best solution. And it's on Marketplace. It's local, it's near work, so I could pick it up when I was at work. They're asking 30 quid, which I haven't got. I asked them if it was still available and they said it was. So, but then I went live, so I've not had a chance to talk about it. I've not had a chance to message them back, but I will do, and I'll try and beat them down a bit. And maybe that will do the job and complete the little setup. But again, no point in having all of the setup. And I've invested a huge amount of money in this now. I mean, the folding chair and table, they were £10 each off Facebook Marketplace. Okay, it was coins, and I don't count coins. But still 20 quid. So pointless spending that if I don't actually use them. And I don't want to just keep finding excuses not to get out there and do it. So tomorrow, I feel like I should commit to just getting out there, whether it's raining or howling with wind or whatever, and somehow making Momo in the Land Rover. In fact, I will commit to it, and I will commit to it by doing this. I will take out from the Momo freezer 1 portion of beautiful homemade Momo chutney. I will leave that to defrost naturally in the refrigerator overnight, and I can't refreeze it, so that means I'm committed to eating it. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, and then that video can go out on Wednesday night. But I will tell you tomorrow night how it went. I'm going to do it. I am definitely 100% going to do it. All right? Committed. And if I don't do it, you can shout at me and call me names. And if it's raining, I'll just have to deal with that, won't I? So, yeah, brilliant. Right. Let's catch up with these comments and then let's go to bed, shall we? Where did I get to? I like anywhere that you want to show us, says Trace. Because you love and enjoy it, and it comes across in the video of, oh, bless you, that's really sweet. I hope it does. I'm so in love with where I live. And yeah, I hope that does come across in some way. Thank you for that. How about a tour of the dump it sites around the country? You could look at what folk are throwing away as well, since popular on TV. I'd rather have dysentery, Simon. That would just depress me and annoy me. And I would just want to, you know, the worst case scenario there would be I happened across somebody actually doing the dumping, and I would probably kill them. I would seriously hurt them anyway. And then I'd end up in prison. And then I couldn't make films because you're not allowed to make films in prison, I don't think. Oh, mustard's back. Jolly good. The trouble is, says JCO2 Wax, planning things just never happens. Planned loads this year, still haven't done them. I know, mate. I know. And I think that's true for a load of us. And I'm so determined that that can't happen this year. But it's already starting to. You know, I said, as soon as we get into April, I'm going to start doing stuff. As soon as the clocks go forward, I'm going to start doing stuff. As soon as we get into May, I'm going to start doing stuff. And it's now the 9th of May, and I've not done anything. I've not done anything different. I've been to the Yard of Dreams, yeah. Done that all through the winter. I love it. But it's not anything different, not anything special. I've done my normal videos, I've done my normal nonsense. I've not done anything different or anything special. And time is just slipping away. Before you know it, it's going to be the summer solstice, and then we're on the downward hill too. So balls to it. I've got to start doing it. I really have. We all have. So tomorrow, my guarantee, tomorrow, I filmed the first Land Rover lunch. Yeah, just do it. Do it. You know, if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. I've got this thing that everything has to be planned and prepared for and made perfect. Just get out there and do it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen, for God's sake? So, yeah, I will do that tomorrow. Oh, this is rich. Simon says, Project Nigel, get your finger out and force Boaty to do stuff. Are you kidding me? He's worse than me. He's creative inertia. Put the two of us together and nothing's ever going to happen. We need somebody to kick us both up the arse. Do it in the rain. It'll make it even more fun and interesting. Now I think about it, I agree. Simon says he has all these ideas, but he never does it. You're right, Simon, I don't. And I must this year. I'm doing the lives this year, right? I can't keep making excuses to you. And you will all tell me. Make me do it. If I don't do this thing tomorrow, if I don't come on tomorrow night and say, yeah, I did it, it was okay, or it was a disaster, or this is what I can do differently, or this is what I could do with to make it better, right? That's okay. If I don't do it at all, kick me up the fucking arse. and call me all of the names under the sun. Cheeseburger says, take the chemical toilet with you. Some of the takeaway channels take a picnic table with them. Yeah, I've seen that. You could use the chemical loo. I'm laughing because I've genuinely thought of doing that. That episode on our joint channel where we got the chemical bug out and I explored how it worked. I had genuine thoughts about putting that in the back of the Land Rover and actually taking it and doing Boaty bugs videos when I just popped the chemical toilet in an area of outstanding national beauty and recorded a video perched on it. I still might do that. Oh dear. Sounds like I missed something, says Mustard. Trey says, Boaty is going to go for a drive and cook in a location that he likes and film it all. That's the idea. Only a small disposable gas canister though, says Cheeseburger. A 70s thing. It's a cool thing. That is a cool little stove. I have used it. And now I've got 2 of them. I could make sausage and mash. I could make sausage and mash in the wilderness. How cool would that be? I could do all sorts of things. Give me ideas of what I should cook. I've been trying to think and I can't think of any ideas. I'm going to do the Momo and I'll do that tomorrow. But that's boring and easy and a safe option. And I've done Momo on film before, both here in the house, in the cottage, and I've done them now in the caravan, and I've done them outside on the picnic bench in the Yard of Dreams. So I'm kind of taking the easy way. I'm just thinking that if the Land Rover Lunches Things takes off, then a really good opening one might be, and I think I'm going to go and cook in the big lay-by at the top of Longston Edge. I can do a nice film driving to it. I can go up through Stony Middleton, out onto the tops. You've all seen that a million times going to the yard. And then just before you get to the Yonderman Cafe, left, up, over the tops, past the quarries, just over the brow of Longston Edge. And then there's a series of big old lay-bys where I think we should have meetups. Watch the video that I do tomorrow, see what you think. And I just think that Land Rover Lunches, making Momo at Longstone Edge with a really good thumbnail would be an eye-grabbing video thing and might get people into it and get them interested in the next of the series. So yeah, even though it's a safe bet, because I know I can't bugger up the Momo, it's not going to be a disaster. I know it can't be. Another reason for doing it as the first one. But I've been trying to think of stuff to do for subsequent ones and I'm struggling. The only one I've really thought of is making from scratch chow mein. You know, a cheap chow mein using ramen noodles, like I've done in the cottage again, but doing it outside on a 1-pan setup. But now I've got 2 stoves, then you know I can be a bit more adventurous and I can really push the boat out. I mean, ideally, if it takes off as a thing, I'd like to be doing it 3 or 4 days a week, just getting out there and having lunch in making different meals in different places. Why wouldn't that work? Other channels do similar thing. It's a bit like the lovely Blot, who I adore. I absolutely adore him. Doing his stealth camps in different places. Same sort of thing, isn't it? Why couldn't it work? And I think once I got into doing it, I would genuinely enjoy it. Where did I get to? I want one of those hob things for Henrietta or Margaret for race meat, etc. They're brilliant. 14 quid is a brilliant purchase, Boaty. Someone sent you 20 quid in the live, so that's paid for it and some extra pennies. Not entirely. It's paid for some of it. The money sent in the lives, YouTube takes half of it, so you only get half of what is sent, and you don't get it for a month or two. But yeah, in theory, it would certainly pay for most of it. Oh, FYI, Boaty, the comment about homophobia on that vid has disappeared, taking with it all the replies. Interesting. Something popped up. Let me have a look. Something did pop up. Oh. Okay, it's a new comment from the guy who posted the first one. Hang on. Right, okay, this is from YouTube account Jay Collins, and it's the guy that posted the original comment that we're talking about. He says, "My apologies to Boaty and Mustard Rover guy. They're both in fact far from homophobic. I just took some of his comments in the incorrect manner. So I hope he accepts my apology." Yeah, I absolutely do. He's been watching the live. After watching his live stream this evening, he's a kind and genuine guy who knows his stuff. I've removed my comments. Oh, gosh, well, oh, and there's a comment here from, bless you. Oh, okay, well, that's an unexpected thing. I've just jumped down some comments, and yeah, and Jay says, "I've removed my comments about homophobia, etc., and have apologised. Totally accept, and I apologise for anything that was misunderstood. Take care and enjoy your evening." I really hope you're still watching, because thank you for that. Thank you for watching the original video. Thank you for being part of this live stream, and don't go, be part of this. We're nice people. We've got a whole community thing going on. So if you're still watching this, please don't just disappear. We would love to welcome you, get to know you, and hope that you would get something out of being with us. You know the channel, you know where we are. There's a Facebook group, same name, Boaty's World. Search for that on Facebook. We're a great community. We meet up. We have fun, we're all friends. There's all sorts. There are members of the rainbow community. There are, we've got LGBTQ plus people. It's an all-inclusive community, and you would be so welcome. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Oh, isn't that nice? Right, let me whiz through the comments so that this makes some sort of sense. Simon's hungry. Mustard's got instant noodles. Simon's off. Quite right. It is that time of night, isn't it? Everybody's saying goodnight to Simon. So hard to do the things you plan, especially fitting it around work. Yeah, that's true, but I've got less of an excuse than most because I work in the evening, so I've got my daytimes free. Trey says, oh, and this is directed at Jay Collins. Bless you. It gave us a great discussion. I hope you stay and enjoy. I really hope so too. I really do look forward to the Land Rover lunch. It's going to be brilliant. That's kind of you to say so. Oh, this is lovely. Cheeseburger says, good night, Jay. You are amongst friends. Yeah, absolutely you are. Absolutely you are. I hope you hung around for long enough to read those comments and to hear this. What a lovely way to end. What a lovely way to come to an end. Yeah, that's, I'm really pleased about that. Do do it, mate, says Mustard. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna get out there, even if it's raining, in my Land Rover. I love my Land Rover. Have I told you how much I love my Land Rover? Oh, that was the other thing that I didn't tell you about that I did. My big thing that I did today. Where is it? Right. If you've watched the Land Rover videos, the one where when I go down and collect it and I put in the bit of, because of course it was a Chops garage car, and I showed you his bit of footage and stuff and other videos since, you will know that was the gear gator. Okay, you can see the bit of leather left on there. Now, when I bought Boo from the lovely Mike Classic Wheels Wales, he was going to retail the car until he realised it would be perfect for me. Okay, so he had ordered a new gear gator to replace this one. Yeah, and obviously he gave it to me with the car, bless him. But it arrived like the same day I went to pick it up, so he hadn't had a chance to fit it. But he just gave it to me, and it's a proper one. It's real leather, Italian leather, beautiful double stitched thing. And I'll admit to you, I didn't fit it because I knew that I couldn't, and I couldn't afford anybody to pay anybody else to fit it for me. I thought about having to go with it. I watched every YouTube video that I could find of how to do it. And there were times where I thought that, yeah, maybe I could do it. And then the video would get to a bit where I thought, I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. So what I did was, this used to look a lot worse. I've turned it inside out now. This had flaky bits of leather all over it. Like there, you see? But that was kind of all over and it was all flaking off into the car. What I did was, I picked off all of the bits of leather that I could and told myself that it looked really cool as it was, as a 10,000 wash Y-front grey thing. I told myself it was a bit of a Project Nigel thing. Project Nigel has got an inside-out gear gator. This isn't inside out, it's just all the leather is off it. And I said the grey matches the silver outside, and I was just determined that I was going to live with it. Now today, because I was stuck at home, and I did another thing. I had a fob that wasn't working, and I tried to repair it, and guess what? I did. I managed to repair it, and I programmed it in. So I used the old P-scan, which is a brilliant bit of kit. And then having done that, and I got to that point in the afternoon where it was going to be ages until the live stream, and I'd had lunch, and I didn't want to clean the fish tanks out. I've been putting it off for ages, and I couldn't think of what to do. And I suddenly thought, fuck it, I'll have half a go at the gear gator. I'll just see how far I can get, but I won't get to a stage where I have to go through with it. I can just put it back as it was. So I got the surround, the gear gator surround, I got that out. Okay, not a problem. Got the gear knob off. What a beautiful knob. What a beautiful knob. It weighs a ton. Proper substantial Land Rover leather knob. I was really impressed. But I managed to get the knob off as well. No problem. Got the whole thing off. Then the gator in the bottom thing is kind of, it's in between two plasticky bits, and you had to prise the plasticky bit off. Wasn't sure about that, but had a go, and yeah, got it off. Then the top of the gaiter is elastic in, that was all right. But then this gaiter was glued. You can see the base. Right, it's glued into one of the plastic bits, and I thought, this is the bit that I can't do. I can't correctly fit and glue, and so I was on the verge of putting it all together, or back together the way it was. And then I suddenly just thought, fuck it, I'll have a go. And I made a right hash of it, darlings, to be honest. It was a nightmare getting the new gaiter over the plastic bit, because it was a really, really tight fit. And then I had to glue the plastic bit first, and then get the gaiter over that, and the glue got everywhere, and I glued myself to everything. I glued myself to the iPad, to the, but eventually I kind of did it. And then eventually I managed to work out how to get it all. I mean, to some of you, this is going to seem like nonsense. Yeah, well done, Boaty. You did something a 3-year-old child could do. But it's a really big thing for me, a bit like doing the aerials. And I kind of did it. I kind of got it stuck on. It wasn't perfect, but it was stuck on. And I got the plastic back together, and I got the gear knob on facing the right way, and all of that. And it's in the car. It's done. And it looks fabulous. It looks a million times better than this sad old wizard sleeve that I told myself looked all right did. It looks brilliant. It's transformed that bit of the car. There's a video of it in the Facebook group. It won't be going on the channel, I don't think, but it is in the Facebook group. And I'm just so incredibly chuffed with myself. It's another thing that I've done. You know, that's a big thing for me. I've all of my life, it doesn't matter what I've done, and I know I've done some things that people say are impressive or whatever, but all of my life I've been in awe of people like Mustard, who can do practical things, who, when something is important to them, Simone is the same. Simon is the same. Many others of you will also be the same. When something is important to you, you crack on. You find a way to do it. Even if it is slightly out of your comfort zone at that time, like Mustard with his welding. And you don't just pay somebody else to do it or call for help. And, you know, with me, that basically means it never gets done, because I can't afford to pay anybody else to do anything these days. And I did it. I did a thing. And I'm so incredibly chuffed with myself. And when I do the Land Rover lunch, I will reference it, and I will show you the new gaiter, which looks fabulous, by the way. And I will show you the aerial, where I managed to drill out, thanks to underscore, sorting me out a drill, when I managed to drill out the logged in, but I'll show you all of that, and that can be part of it. And that's kind of the highlight of my day, so I just wanted to share that with you. And give you credit, because you've all been encouraging me to try and do stuff like that. It must be really annoying, because all of you are car people. Even the ladies, Simone and Liz, are very capable car people. And it must really annoy you to watch some bumbling arse who can't do even the most basic of things. But yeah, I'm trying. I am trying. And I never believed in 1,000 years that I would be able to do that. Might seem stupid, but oh, how chuffed am I? How chuffed am I? And now I love my Land Rover even more. And don't tell Shison or Wetleg. They're all my favourite cars. I love them all equally. And they'll all be my favourite on any given day. But I so love the Land Rover. I never thought I would. I never thought I was a Land Rover person. I've owned a couple of, well, I've owned Discovery 1 for a short period of time. That was a flip. We ran it for about 3 weeks and sold it. Took a grand out of it, I think. I've had a range. I've had a few Range Rovers which I loved way back in the day, but that was more like a prestige thing. I never thought I'd love something like a Freelander, and I so do. I so want to lavish things upon it, and I keep thinking of things I'd love to. Do you know? I hate camping more than anything else in the world, and I watched Matt's video on his roof tent thing, and I thought I would actually do that, and I would actually spend nights in it, somewhere out in the wilderness. And on Matt's video, he was saying that, you know, you can buy these roof tents, people buy them, don't like them, whatever. And he picked one up for less than 200 quid. Well, you can't bloody do that now. Go and look on eBay for a roof tent. Try buying one for less than about 800 or 900 quid. You can't do it. So that's that idea out the window. But I would like, oh, let me show you something. I bought these 100 years ago. They were about 29p on eBay. Believe it or not, those are door mirror visors. Absolutely ridiculous. But I think they would look cool on the Freelander. I've had those forever. And I would like wind deflectors for it to kind of dress it up a bit. And I don't know whether I would like light guards or anything like that, because it's not going to get any real off-road use, is it? But I would like the wind deflectors, because they just look cool and make it look all purposeful. And I love the idea of having it as a tool, a trusty friend for tramping around the peak and cooking these outdoor lunches. I love the idea. I've told you before, I'm obsessed by these van life channels and camping channels and blot outdoors and all of those. And I love the idea of it. I love it in theory. You know, wild camping under the stars, making... I just love all of that. But I could never bring myself to do it, much as I think that I would like to. Now, if I had money, I know that I would buy a setup. I would buy a tent, or I would buy a roof tent, or I'd buy a folding bob camper or something like that. And I know that I'd never end up using it, because whenever I think about that, it's the same thing with hotels. I keep having this idea that during the summer, on a Monday, I should spend the nights away. And originally I've thought about using Boaty, the caravan, but site fees are expensive. I've thought about a hotel, booking a Premier Inn or something way in advance, so it's like 28 quid, and camping in your room with a takeaway or some sandwiches or a picnic and a bottle of wine in a cooler bag. And I keep coming back to the same idea. Why would I just want to come home. I love... Okay, that's the FSM telling me that it's time to go, isn't it? But yeah, I was saying about the idea of spending the Monday night away, my night off. Whenever I think of it, whether I think about a hotel or camping or whatever, I always get the same thing. I would rather drive 3 hours home at midnight, leave at midnight, get home at 3 a.m. I'd rather do that and spend the night here than spend 30 quid on a hotel or however much it is on camping fees. But I'm in love with the idea of that nomadic roaming free thing. So this is the closest I think I can get to it, the best of both worlds. Yeah, I'm always going to come home to Windy Bum at the end of the night, but I can have a Land Rover lunch. And that's my little nod to the wilderness bit that I would love to do in theory, but in reality, either because I like my home comforts or just because I love my home and don't want to spend it. I'll tell you how much I love this place. I've been living here for about a year, and I had a flood. The boiler burst upstairs due to excess water pressure, it turned out to be. I had a flood, the water came down through the kitchen ceiling. I had no electricity, I had no heating, and it was the middle of winter. So the place was pitch dark, the place was freezing cold, and the place was waterlogged. And it was going to remain that way, certainly for one night, possibly for two. And obviously I reported the situation to the landlord, and the landlord said, well, you can't possibly stay there. Book yourself into a hotel and it'll all be paid for. And they gave me a budget of whatever it was. And as some of you know, there's a Premier Inn just up the road from me there by the pub where we met up the other Sunday. But the budget that they gave me meant I could go to Stanage, what used to be the Red Lion at Stanage and is now a super posh hotel. I used to go and eat there when I was married as a treat. And had a date there as well. I had a very good date there after the divorce. Very expensive date, but a very good date with a lovely lady. And I could have gone and spent 2 nights there, right? Free of charge, living in the lap of luxury. And I stayed here with no electricity and with no heating, because even then I had that bond with this place, and I felt that I couldn't abandon the cottage when it was a little bit broken. And I was, and that was even before the accident and even before Dad died. So that was when I was doing 90-hour weeks at Sainsbury's. And yeah, I just stayed here. That's how much I love this place. So as much as I love the idea of spending a Monday night somewhere at the seaside and booking a hotel well in advance, and that means that you can have a full night of it and a night in a hotel, which is always nice, and then making a second day of it and a long leisurely drive home. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Even if I had the money, I would always choose to drive 3 hours home from midnight till 3, which are the best drives. Oh God, those early morning drives in the pitch dark with empty roads and Radio 4 or an audio book, or even just the sound of your car. Those are the best times ever, aren't they? And getting home to the home that you love and getting a bit of supper on and having a glass of 6 of wine and then falling into bed at a ridiculous hour, but you're glad that you're in your own bed and you're going to wake up to the beautiful field and the sheep outside. Anyway, shut up. Let them go to bed. It's 1:45. I've been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I could go on for the same again. But that wouldn't be fair on you. So let's go back to where I was and pick up on the comments. Where do I get to? Right, yeah, that's about it, isn't it? Cheeseburger says you need a 30-minute live tomorrow whilst cooking, disasters and all. That would depend on having internet signal where I'm going to be, and it's a bit wild, no guarantee of that. And also, if I'm doing a live, then I'm not making a video, and I need to make videos out of this. Although I suppose I could take a double camera setup and do a live of me making the film. That could be interesting, couldn't it? What do you think? Do a live while I'm actually making the film. So on the live, you'll see the whole unedited thing, and then obviously on the film, you'll see the edits. That could be interesting. Might well do that. Boaty's Bugs, live from the moors. Yeah, I love the idea of that. Cook sausage and mash on the go. Yeah, now I've got 2 stoves. I could easily do that. I could do with setting up a particular little folding camping cookery setup rather than taking my big saucepans. But with a double stove setup, there's loads of stuff that I could do. Bloody hell, I could make spaghetti bolognese, I could make chili, I could make curry and rice, all sorts. So that's exciting, isn't it? I'm all excited now. And the problem is, right, it's 10 to 1. I've consumed the vast majority of a bottle of wine. And all of this seems like a great idea. And then in the cold light of day the next day, you always find excuses not to do it. That is the danger. Oh, I'm hungry now. I'm looking forward to supper. I'm also a bit pissed. Mustard says, if you don't do it tomorrow, everyone should unsubscribe. Do you know what? You should. If I don't do this tomorrow, you should all unsubscribe to teach me a lesson. There, I said it. I might deny saying it, but I said it. You should go to different parts of the UK and cook regional dishes on 2 stoves. That's a time thing though, isn't it, Matt? The thing we're doing the Land Rover lunches around here, I can do them on weekdays, right? The only full day I've got is Monday, and that's my mustard day. So if I were to go and do regional dishes around the UK and so on, that's a day I haven't got with mustard. And I love my mustard days. I love my mustard, I do. I loves the Hairy Paddington. So once in a blue moon, yeah, but I wouldn't want to be doing that as a regular thing because it would mean no mustard. I mean, ideally, mustard would come and do it with me and it would be an us thing, but, you know, that's not always going to be possible for him. So, you know, hopefully we'll meld them in. I definitely want mustard to come with me when me and Ram go away and do our things. I think the 3 of us would make, I think we'd have a fabulous time. And I think it would make really good content all round. And Mustard obviously could make his own content as well while we were doing ours. So it wouldn't be a selfish thing. Cook beef Wellington on your stove. Well, I would never cook a classic beef Wellington, Jimmy, because I won't eat mushrooms. And yeah, you're not going to cook beef Wellington on a gas stove. I mean, you know, you need an oven. You need an oven. My old man says Cheeseburger used to cook on 2 of those in the 70s. Take a windbreak with you because the flame might blow out. You could do any barbecue food on those. Yeah, that's why I was looking at the camping kitchen units, because most of them do come with a windbreak, and I recognise that in certain conditions that might be a necessary thing. Yeah, in an ideal world I would have one of those, but they're bloody expensive. Even second hand, they're like 40 or 50 quid. What is Momo? Never had it. JCO2 Wax. Everybody else here knows what Momo is. Okay, Momo. It's a dumpling. It's the national food of Nepal. It's a dumpling, spiced meat or minced meat or vegetables with herbs and spices, herbs and spices native to the Himalayan region, normally steamed and classically served with a super spicy achar, tomato, chili, chutney type of thing. Well, you'll see in the video tomorrow. I'll talk about them all on the way there. Don't forget to like if you're here and enjoying, says Trace. Good on you, Trace. Thank you for that. Try making a roast dinner with homemade ups. No yips. I'm not going to do that on a bloody camping stove, am I? And yeah, I got grief off mustard because I used frozen Yorkshire puddings. I can make a beautiful Yorkshire pudding. I've always made my own Yorkshire puddings when I was a family man. When it's just me on my own, sometimes I use frozen ones. Well, often, invariably I use frozen ones because I can't be asked. Not when it's just me. If I was cooking for you guys, obviously I would make my own. I make beautiful Yorkshire puddings. Key to Yorkshire puddings, use bacon fat. Always use bacon fat. And you need hot oven and never open the door to check. Says Matt, I'm thinking about buying food from Boaty's restaurant, then sitting at the car park exits of the local dogging spots, because I bet they work up an appetite. I'll call them dogging bags. God. YouTube takes 50%, that's bonkers. We've had this conversation a million times. Yeah, YouTube might take a hefty chunk, but then they produce the platform free of charge. I don't pay to upload content to it. You don't pay to watch content. They've got to make their money somewhere. And they put all of the facilities into place for our stuff to be monetized. And yeah, they take a chunk. And it's entirely right that they take a chunk, and I've covered this loads of times. Stuff like the channel memberships, the super chats, keep them coming. They're really appreciated. They go in a pot, and it means that on the 23rd of the month that I or any other YouTuber will get a nice little payout, and that'll be a nice little chunk of money. You know, it might be a small chunk of money, but it's still a chunk of money that'll come in handy, that because we didn't get it immediately, we couldn't spend it. And that's a great thing. People will use it for different things. Mustard uses his to pay for his car insurance, his trade insurance. So please don't stop doing the channel memberships and stuff like that. And don't begrudge YouTube their chunk of it. It's not always 50%. Some depends on exactly what the thing is, but it's sort of 35% upwards. The only thing I would say is that for, you know, if you want to contribute towards something more personal, so like for example, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be asking for help getting Stigbürt sorted, getting some bits and pieces. When it's something like that and you want all of the money to go to the YouTuber and you want it to go to them immediately, then have a look in the description of the video. You can bet that their PayPal address will be somewhere in the video description so that you can send them a donation directly and they get it immediately and they get all of it. Most YouTubers will have a link in their video descriptions. I certainly do. And if they haven't, then ask them. So it's a balance of the two, really. Okay. Oh, Jake Collins did hang around. Lovely. Thank you for accepting my apology, everyone. Oh, also just subscribed. Oh, fabulous. Another subscriber. Everyone's a winner. Thank you, Jay, and welcome again. And as Cheeseburger said, you are indeed You're amongst friends here. Cheers. Super pleased we're all friends. Welcoming Jay. Nice to have you on board, Jay. Oh, this is nice. Yeah. Oh, that's grand. That's grand, that's grand, that's grand. Jimmy Quinn says, well done to me for fixing things. I'm lucky I've got a man to fix my car, says Jimmy Quinn. You are lucky. Well, maybe you're not lucky, Jimmy. Maybe you've just worked bloody hard all of your life and now you're enjoying the fruits of that. And why shouldn't you? Little steps, Boaty. Each time you successfully do something builds confidence for the next thing. Yeah. I love Land Rovers too. Yeah, you're a good man. Oh, Sven is with us. Good evening all. It's a good feeling when you step by step manage to fix stuff yourself. I'm learning this. Just seen the video on the group talking about my Land Rover Geargator. Great job and looks super smart and definitely an upgrade from the old dirty tatty one. It is, isn't it? Put the wind deflectors on. Ponce it up a bit, says Cheeseburger. Well, I'm going to put the mirror things on when it's a dry day. The wind deflectors, I would only want them on the front. I think they look wank on the back doors of a four-door car. I think I only think they look right on the front. I would love them. I've checked them out. They are available. I would want the Hecko ones. Obviously, they're the best. But they're 34 quid. So that's going to have to wait until something happens. And I've got 34 quid. But they will go on at some point. That's my next purchase, says Jimmy Quinn. Another motorhome. How many do you need, man? Make sure you get through the comments, says Trace. I will. Good night, everyone, says Mark on Motoring. Insightful and entertaining as always. Boaty, good night to you, sir. Do a live stream during tomorrow's lunch, says Jimmy Quinn. Yeah, that's looking like a very real possibility. I can mix it in with making the video. It'll be fun to do a live when I'm out there. But that does depend on me having internet coverage, which isn't going to be available everywhere in the peak. It's barely bloody available here. Lives while filming is good, says Trace. Come on, Duddy, wind it up, says Cheeseburger. Some of us have got jobs to go to. Fuck yeah, it's gone 1 o'clock. Jesus Christ. The live would be behind the scenes exclusive. Oh, Psychonaut, you arsehole. Unsubscribed already, just in case. Oh, you bugger. I'm not unsubscribing, says Jimmy Quinn. It took me long enough to subscribe, and I really appreciate it. I said that he was starting early, so we would get an extra hour of Boaty, and I was blooming right, says Trace. You weren't supposed to. I was going to go at midnight. You just get me carried away, don't you? Boaty claims he's not that pissed, but he's 6 hours behind on reading the live chat. Yet he's only been live for 3 hours. Oh, God. I've caught up with the comments, darling. It has gone 1 o'clock. I need to get some supper. I've totally forgotten what I'm eating. I've got to be up early. I'm filming a Land Rover lunch tomorrow. I've committed to it. I've defrosted the Momo chutney and everything. Tonight has been enormous fun, darlings. What am I doing? Oh, I need to play you out, don't I? Say your good nights. It's time we all toddled off to bed. But thank you to everyone for being part of this. Where's my thing? Where is it? Ah, there it is. Need to get ready to unmute that. I've loved today. It's been great catching up with you. Thank you to everyone. Welcome to new subscribers, new friends, new channel members. Thank you to you all. Thank you for Thank you for those that have bunged a bit of money my way today. Really appreciated, especially with Project Stigbürt, which I will talk more about tomorrow, and which I'm gonna need. I need Pingu Concord's help. I need him to tell me which bits I should buy. He's put some links up, but I'm not sure exactly which ones I need. So good night all, looking forward to the Land Rover lunch tomorrow. It will definitely happen. Tonight's been amazing. Thanks Boaty and all in the live, thank you. Welcome to new members and chatters. Sven says, good night from the short visiting Norwegian. Check out Car Crazy Norwegian. Brilliant YouTube channel. New videos on there, you need to watch them. Oh, Spotty Butty. Boaty's still going. Hello and goodbye. Good night all, says Cheeseburger. Thanks for a great live, Boaty. Fun and thought-provoking in equal measure. Right, that's it. Caught up. I'm going to play you out. Thank you, darlings. It's been great. And here we go. Oh, it still makes me laugh my ass off every time I hear that. Good God, I am a little drunk. All right, darlings, take care of yourselves. Have a safe and peaceful night. And can't wait to see you tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow night, 11 o'clock. Same place, different time. And have a safe and peaceful night. Good night, my darlings. Bye-bye.